I Philly. Now that the Wicked Witch of the Hitches is gone. Y'all don't believe me? Kevin Patullo loved himself a hitch route. Now that he's gone, we got to have a serious conversation about our offense. Or I should say about our offensive game plan going forward. You know what I'm saying? Get this message to Howie. Get this message to Jeffrey Lurie. You know what I'm saying? And when I say a real conversation, I'm not talking about our players in a way a lot of you trolls want to talk about them, right? And I know, outside of, A.J. Brown, who I think will be fine once you get a competent mind up in there. And, Jalen Hurts, which is where they like to do their trolling. For a mid quarterback, I'll agree with you. Okay, he's mid. For a mid quarterback, keeps winning, right? For a mid quarterback, you put the right stuff around him, the right offensive coordinator around him, gets to the Super Bowl and or wins the Super Bowl. Maybe you need to find out why you can't even draft a mid quarterback, Jet fans. You haven't had a quarterback as good as Jalen Hurts since Joe Namath. You need to find out why you have quarterbacks apparently better than Jalen Hurts and your team can't build around them. Okay? But anyway, with that said, we need to have a conversation about who this offensive coordinator is going to be. And we're between a rock and a hard place right now. You look on the defense side of the ball, and I think that's where the answers is. Unfortunately, our search is going to be limited to a guy that's just like Vic Fangio. Right? A guy just like him that probably isn't interested in becoming a head coach, is older enough and wiser enough to obviously know the schemes, but still be open-minded, and is also older and wiser enough that Nick Sirianni ain't going to feel comfortable trying to boss him around. Now, mind you, Vic is a defensive guy. Nick is an offensive guy. He was a coordinator that didn't call plays with Frank Reich and them. Right? So he's going to be less comfortable talking to Vic. But now, if it's an offensive guy, Nick might come in saying, I want you to run this, run that. We need a guy that's proven, but unfortunately doesn't want to be a head coach. Because unfortunately, right, while you guys try to talk about who's mid and who's not mid, when an offensive coordinator comes and he's competent, we overachieve. Either get to the bowl or win a bowl, and we lose them. Shane Steichen gets hired as a head coach in Indianapolis. Kellen Moore gets hired as a head coach in New Orleans. When we don't have competent people, because I agree, shout out Jeffrey, we built a very good offensive roster. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what your GM is supposed to do, you losers. We built a good offensive roster and defensive roster. Anything outside of getting past the first round is going to be looked at as a disappointment. And Jalen, this is, again, you call him mid. I watch ball, I know ball, and I also root for my guys. He's going to have another year with a different offensive coordinator. A lot of your favorite players, quarterbacks, can't do this. They can't. Jalen won a Super Bowl with a new coordinator. My offensive guys, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, first year of a new coordinator, they won the bowl the first year. So, Brian Dable is one. Some of y'all are suggesting, was it Mike Monarch, I guess, the former OC for the Ravens? But you look at a guy like Cliff Kingsbury or or Mike McDaniel, guys like that, they get successful the first year, which I know will happen with my guys. We're a quarterback that's coachable and will listen. We're a quarterback that turns it up at the biggest moments. We're true bomb wide receivers. With an offensive line culture that no matter what, we rebuild and tool every year. With a Hall of Fame running back in Saquon Barkley. That's damn near bowl bound every year. So we got to have this conversation. And the last piece, we got to start looking at Nick Sirianni like, hey, buddy, I know what your strengths are. I get it. You make sure we win turnover battles. You try to build some kind of culture. I get it. But when that offense was failing, all that culture talk didn't matter. We started having cracks in the locker room. And also, because you weren't a natural play caller, you couldn't take over play calling like a Dan Campbell would do. Or the Matt LaFleur or Kyle Shanahan's of the world. So in this case, now we got to bring another offense coordinator. If this coordinator is not the type of guy that's going to stay for 2-3 years, we can't keep doing this carousel with Nick Sirianni. And I know your resume says, just like Jalen, you are that guy. Every year in here, you've been in the playoffs and you've won a Super Bowl and been to 2. But something has got to give. You got to be willing to say, hey, even if we hire a new guy and that guy succeeds, no hire internally for you, buddy.